Welcome everyone to the Career and Information session of the Department of Industrial Engineering and Decision Analytics. I am Professor Guillermo Gallego and I serve as the Department Head of IEDA. I'll make some introductory remarks and then I will pass the podium to Professor ZHANG, the UG Coordinator, who will then go through all of our programs in detail. Making the right choices is very important for your career and for your life, and we want to convince you that a career in IEDA is interesting, relevant, and rewarding. Our mission is to build a solid foundation of portable skills in modeling, data, and analytics, and to equip students with domain-specific knowledge to launch a successful career in the knowledge economy. In particular, we train students in the area of financial engineering and consulting services. We also provide our students with the right foundation for them to pursue postgraduate studies. As an example, IEDA has now negotiated terms to secure spots at top universities for IEDA graduates with high GPAs. So our students can now go, for example, to Columbia University and enroll in some of the very high-level master's programs. So now I will pass the podium to Professor ZHANG. He's our UG Program Coordinator, and we will go over the details of all of the programs offered by IEDA. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, welcome to the information session of the Department of Industrial Engineering and Decision Analytics. I'm Professor Ray. I'm the UG Coordinator of the Department of IEDA. Today, I'd like to give you brief information about our department, our curriculum, and the job perspective if you join our department. I'd like to introduce a little bit about the background and evolution of our major. This area of industrial engineering originated with the Industrial Revolution. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, we humans can manufacture products at a large scale. That leads to the study of manufacturing and shipping and later the whole supply chain. However, recently, there's an advancement of our society into this service-based economy. For example, financial engineering. If you look at this major, this is essentially an area providing financial services. I will elaborate more on what this is about. Another area is healthcare. Here I want to make the difference between healthcare and medicine. Medicine is about study how to treat a certain kind of disease. But given we know the protocol of how to treat some diseases, how are we going to be able to utilize our resources? Doctors, nurses, beds in hospital, operation rooms efficiently so that the waiting time is minimized, the utilization of our limited medical resources is maximized. Dynamic pricing. We all have the experience of finding different air ticket prices depending on the time, on the season. So it's very important for airlines to determine a price so that their revenue is optimized, but however, the empty seats on the aircraft is minimized. Take auto insurance, for example. If you ever get involved in a car accident and it's your responsibility, it's very difficult for any individual to pay for the damage of the car, probably the damage of the body. But however, what we can do is that we can pool our money together. Insurance company collect the premium from each individual drivers. If during a certain amount of time, say a year, there's no accident, then the insurance company will just take the premium as profit. But however, for some people who get involved in a car accident, with very small probability, the insurance company will help the driver to pay part or all of the costs. And this area needs quantitative models to model the chance that the driver would get into an accident and also the cost of accident. Only by carefully model this kind of chance and the cost, we can give a reasonable price of car insurance. That's similarly, we need to think about the price for example, health insurance. But recently, with advancements of IT technology, our society has evolved into this knowledge economy. There are a couple of examples: fintech, shared economy, and e-commerce. Take shared economy, for example. Nowadays, we can easily call taxi on Uber, and Uber is going to determine the price. In fact, in the peak time, Uber will have something called price search. So it's very important to study this kind of model to know the demand and the supply and to match the demand and supply in the best way by adjusting the price. E-commerce is another area. Nowadays, we can easily buy and sell stuff online. There are advertisements for that. So the question is that given the data, how should we charge the price and how should we put up the advertisement? These days, Google, Facebook, all these social networks, they provide advertisement services. The way they do it is that you have limited advertisement budget, and it is the algorithm that we need to design to see how we can best allocate the advertisement budget so that the social impact is maximized. Fintech is another area that's enabled by modern technology. Traditionally, if we want to charge somebody, for example, car insurance, we can only roughly divide people into several categories. For example, male, under age 25, unmarried. And this is a class that's regarded as the most accident-prone class. But however, with the availability of data, for example, some company would have the device that can help us record all your driving habits. There are other online payment platforms which record all your habit of spending, your habit of paying back your credit card. All these are important indicators of how safe or how reliable a particular person is. And based on this, we can give a more customized price scheme for each individual. And the same thing for determining the housing loan, because the loan business is pretty much the same. We need to figure out what is the risk of the default. And the risk of default for a particular person or a particular company can often be reflected from the historical data. With all this, we have three very hot buzzwords, meaning ABC: AI, big data, and cloud computing. But all of that is essentially about the data, about the analysis, and about modeling. So here comes what our department is really about. So I draw three circles here. If you look at the upper right circle, it's called domain knowledge. As you have seen from the previous examples, I've shown different application domains of our major. No matter whether it's finance or insurance, you need to know how that business works. And only based on that domain knowledge, you're able to create a model. And for the model, you need to be able to analyze it. The third circle, the circle on the upper left, is called hack. By hack, I mean some computing skill. You need a certain amount of computing skill to handle the data, analyze the data. And more importantly, you need to be able to perform computing tasks on your model in order to compute the optimal decision. So what our area essentially is about is to make smart decisions based on data and model. Next, I would like to introduce our curriculum. Our curriculum has a strong core that will equip our students with a set of very portable skills So first, other than the university core, I mean calculus, linear algebra, some social science, our department offers 3 foundations. They are computer programming, economics, and accounting. We hope to give students a basic background of our modern society and modern economy. And build on this, our core contains a sequence of data-related courses. They are probability, statistics, and predictive analytics. Probability helps students understand the randomness in our world and how to model that and how to analyze it. Statistics will help students to combine their probability knowledge and the data to analyze patterns in data. Predictive analytics can be regarded as an advancement of statistics. In this class, we're going to teach students how to perform all kinds of machine learning algorithms and what is the principle behind these machine learning algorithms. The objective is to help students be able to analyze data and identify insights from data. Next is a bunch of courses that extend beyond this sequence. For example, we have Industrial Data System, which is a database course to help students to be able to organize data, to be able to query information data in a structured way. Simulation is another course that, again, we're going to use computer programming to simulate, for example, a trading policy or simulate a advertisement strategy, simulate a pricing strategy, and to see what is the result. This will provide a so-called crystal ball for our business so that we can test all kinds of strategy without really do it in the risky world. Production system will help students understand more about our manufacturing system, production system. Stochastic model is a course that builds on probability. In this course, we're going to introduce students all kinds of stochastic models to model, for example, gambling, to model stock market, model the randomness in manufacturing, the randomness in supply chain. So students will be able to analyze those models. And the center of this core is prescriptive analytics. Given data, given all kinds of tools, so we can analyze, we can identify or see the inside of a business. But more importantly, we need to know what to do. So prescriptive analytics is the course that combines everything we learned and teach students how can we come up with optimal strategy. So in this course, we're going to teach students some optimization theory, and also we'll use programming language to perform computing on various models with application to show students how we can make the best decision in real business. We have 2 programs in the Department of IEDA. The first one is called Decision Analytics. The second one is called Industrial Engineering and Engineering Management. For the DA program, we have two domains. First is financial engineering. The second is consulting service. In the IEEM program, we have another 2 domains. The first one is engineering management, and the second one is logistics management. In the following, I would like to give you a brief description for each of the domains. Financial engineering is in fact an interdisciplinary subject which applies quantitative methods to solve finance-related problems, including design and pricing of financial options. If you look at the table, Hong Kong now is the number 3 most important financial center in the world. And this area is extremely important for local economy and global. I want to take this as an example. So Cathay Pacific, an airline company, even for airline company, need to pay attention to financial engineering. As we all know, that the crude oil price fluctuates violently. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on the global situation. It depends on war in the Middle East. It depends on the market. So given that the oil price fluctuates violently, the question is, how can airline hedge against the risk of changing oil price and provide a stable price for their customers? For that, we're going to teach students how to use all kinds of financial instruments, for example, futures and options, to hedge against the fluctuation of the oil price so that the airline is able to offer relatively stable prices and without exposing themselves to the risk of the global fuel markets. Another example, which is very similar, is about McDonald's. If you go to McDonald's, for example in Hong Kong, the chicken nugget price is all the same, last month, this month, today, tomorrow. But however, we should know that the chicken meat as a product on the financial market, the price fluctuates a lot. However, McDonald's cannot tell their customer, oh, because the chicken meat price on the market increased, so today the chicken nuggets is a little bit more expensive than yesterday. But tomorrow, depending on market, the price will go down, so our chicken nugget price will go down. So the challenge for McDonald's is the same as the challenge for Cathay Pacific. That is, how can they offer a relatively stable price given the randomness of the price of their source materials? Blockchain is another area that falls within the study of our major. So we all know that blockchain is a technology that we use a chain of blocks to store information, for example, transactions, as shown in this picture. There are actually three very important areas involved in this emerging technology. They are probability, cryptography, and programming. And it is the probability that play the most crucial role in identifying how the system works, how secure the system is, and how we can better design a system. For example, for blockchain, the biggest problem is how can we prevent attack? There is a chain by honest people. It's decentralized, it's public. Any malicious miner can mine some chain, so attacker can attack a chain of blocks which contain probably invalid transactions. Once the chain made by the attacker is as long as the chain made by the honest people, we call it a successful attack. Okay. So in our probability class, we're going to teach the students the probability model behind blockchain and show students that the probability of a successful attack can be calculated in this formula. Once we know this, we know the performance of the system, and take a step further, we can also design better system for blockchain. Topics in financial engineering include fintech, risk management, derivatives pricing, blockchains, financial operations. We're going to have corresponding courses during our study. Next is consulting services. This discipline is for revenue management, dynamic pricing, service operation planning, capital allocation. This area actually plays a very critical role in maintaining global competitiveness of Hong Kong companies. It is in fact a very fast-growing sector. They already employ more than 40,000 managerial jobs in Hong Kong. I expect most of our students will be able to find a job in this emerging area. This area is extremely important. I can give you some example. If you look at this, so how can we decide the price of a hotel? It actually depends on a lot of factors. It depends on weather, it depends on the season, whether this is a holiday season, it depends on your competitor, it depends on the economy situation. During economic crisis, probably people will not be able to afford a lot of traveling, but however, in good seasons, good times, people will travel a lot. So the question is that given all the data, and given the tools, I mean the IT tools that are made available in modern technology, how can we determine the price so that the revenue is maximized? Remember, products like hotel room is perishable. By perishable, I mean if by the time you don't use it, it's going to be wasted. So if we are able to increase our revenue by a few percent, that means millions of dollars of revenue for a hotel business every year. So pricing strategy becomes actually a key factor for the success of this business. Another example is the scheduling of airline. We can go to the airport and we see an aircraft take off. It looks very simple, but behind the scene is actually a collaboration of lots of people. We need to do demand estimation. For that, we'll use the predictive analytics that we learned in our class. Once we know the demand estimation, we can design our routes, aircraft's routes assignments, and we can do the crew scheduling. And for that purpose, we're going to need the knowledge we learned in prescriptive analytics. That is, how can we do it? How to optimize it? And also there are a lot of operations behind the scene, like service, ground operations, foods. So this is operations planning. This is also very much related to planning, service management that we're going to teach our students. Third, I would like to introduce the engineering management domain. This domain actually combines engineering and business management. The application of scientific and technology management for design and performance analysis of systems, for optimizing production planning, for managing the quality. I think a lot of people like high quality products. For example, like products made by Apple. iPhone is very expensive. The quality is pretty good. The question is, there's a quality and cost trade-off at production line. So how can we manage the quality of a production line in the most efficient way? There are also areas, for example, managing and designing of products, ergonomics. How can we design the screen? How can we design the shoes that make people feel comfortable? There are also computers and automation. There are Internet of Things, all this kind of new technology that we're going to teach in our curriculum. Here are a few examples. And you can see that in the middle picture is our Professor Richard So designing the hearing devices for humans. It's called ergonomics. And on the left is the Tianjin CTF tower. And our Professor A.J. Janeja is involved in one of the projects for designing the outside glass architecture using GPU computing. Last but not least, logistic management. As we all know, logistics is very important to Hong Kong. Actually, it's one of Hong Kong's 4 pillars of our economy. The 4 pillars being logistics, finance, service, and tourism. Here I want to make it clear that logistics is not about driving trucks around. Logistics is about effective and efficient management of the flow and the storage of goods, information, money, and people. So it's a whole system. So here's one example of supply chain, which is part of logistics. If you look at your products, for example, the phone in your pocket, it actually comes a long way from the manufacturing. Actually, if you go back, that's from extraction of materials, like all kinds of precious metal, and made them into each component. For example, the CPU of the phone is made by Samsung, some storage or camera is made by Sony in Japan. Then it will go through the assembly line, most likely by Foxconn in China. And then it will go to the warehouse, go to the distributor, and via the logistic network, and send to the distribution center globally. And it will go to retailer places globally. And finally, it will reach the hands of millions of customers. Topics in logistics management includes logistics and freight, transport operations, transportation systems, global supply chain management, logistic and inventory planning. If you look at this picture, actually wine also comes a long way from production to customer hands. So this is very similar. This is basically the combination of logistics and inventory planning, so that you can best planning how to sell the wine, when do you give a discount, when do you have a promotion, and when should you start to procure new wines. So why do you want to study IEDA at HKUST? So first of all, we have world-class faculty who graduate from top universities around the world. For example, Columbia, Cornell, Georgia Tech, Stanford. Second, we do world-class research. Our faculty has won numerous awards in academia. A third is the cutting-edge program that I just described you. We have a strong core that give our students a set of very portable skill set. And we also have 4 up-to-date application domains. Also, our department has a strong local and global impact. In fact, we are the most innovative program focusing on future needs of Hong Kong. We have produced excellent alumni in the industry and academia. Also, our professors has lots of collaboration, deep collaboration with real business. We have collaborations with Huawei, Sun Feng, and some fintech companies. Next, I would like to talk a little bit about career opportunities. The list of companies on these slides are our historical data. Our graduates have successfully found a job in these companies. In fact, many of them had a wonderful career path and has become senior managers in various industries. Here I want to point out that other than the traditional logistic area, manufacturing area, our students will also have a fairly good chance to land a job in finance. For example, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, HSBC. Of course, students, once they come to our department, need to go through the training, and then they need to acquire the necessary skill sets for their dream job. If they want to land a job, for example, in finance industry, they probably need to focus their study in the FE, financial engineering domain, and actively look for internship starting from the summer of year 1. If they want to find a job, for example, in logistics, they also need to take courses in the logistic domain and start to look for internships. And for internship, I'll talk a little bit more in the next few slides. The career path, actually, we're not only going to care whether how we're going to place our graduates. We also care about how far and how high our graduates can go. So we all kinds of mentorship or sharing session, we're going to teach our students actually the commencement, the graduation from UST is only the start of their career. In fact, after they join all kinds of company, there's a whole career path that they should have a forward-looking mind to look at it and get themselves prepared. If you go to iBank, you're going to start with a very low position, analyst, and if you perform well, you're going to be promoted to associate, VP, managing director, and in the future, partner. And similarly, there are similar career paths in different areas. Here I want to point out a possible or viable career path for those who want to pursue a research career. They can pursue a PhD study in top universities in Hong Kong or globally, and after that, they will find an assistant professor position at university and promoted to associate professor, full professor, depending on their research. Here are 4 examples in IE, in production, in quality, in manufacturing. We have exchange partners globally. In the past, our students has exchanged at top universities in the world, for example, Columbia, Berkeley, Georgia Tech. In particular, I want to mention that we have established a very good and close relationship with Northwestern. And the agreement is that each year we're going to exchange 2 students, department to department. And we also have very similar curriculum design, so the student exchange there will have a very smooth transition. And Northwestern, they have teaching staff help our students settle down and have a wonderful life, both in terms of study and life at Northwestern. Internship. We encourage our students to find all kinds of internship, and since our department has very good connection with all kinds of industries locally in Hong Kong and probably globally with a few companies, we would also try our best to recommend our students to go on intern at various places. So far, we have a good relationship with a couple of local companies. But for the top places, for example, Goldman Sachs, students need to actively get involved in the job search process, and also need to have a solid skill set that they learn from our curriculum. Here are a few pictures where our students take an internship. Mentorship program is also a big deal as part of our curriculum. As I have mentioned, many of our alumni has become very successful in their career. We would like to invite them back to serve as mentors. So a large portion of mentors are actually our successful alumni. But of course, we don't restrict the mentors within the population of our alumni. Every year we have an annual dinner with the mentor, so that the mentors and mentees can chat and talk. And also, we would like to organize a small group meeting. Every few weeks, we would like to invite 1 or 2 mentors back to our campus on a Saturday afternoon. They're free to bring their family and kids, and we're going to invite their mentees, normally 1 mentor to 3 or 4 mentees. So we're going to book a table at our uni bar, and so that mentors and mentees can chat in a very relaxed environment, and our student can learn a lot of real experience from these mentors. Our student has also won numerous student competitions. Here are just a few examples. I would like to welcome all the excellent students who want to sign up for our department, and we look forward to provide a wonderful platform for our students and raise our students to a whole new level in the new economy of knowledge. That's all my talk. Thank you for listening to my talk, and I'll be very happy to answer questions in our Q&A session.